Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Andrea Eppy. So welcome, everyone. It is another Monday, and we are continuing along with our 2-week daily creative challenges. So welcome to everyone in the chat. Today's actually day 4 of our 2-week challenge. So thanks everyone who's been posting your work so far. I have been looking at the Discord. So thanks everyone for sharing those. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I got a little sunburnt. You can't really see, but it's bad all over my neck. Really bad. But yeah, that means it was a good weekend, right? So welcome everyone. We've got Tiago, Laura, Sam, Moat, Avoid, Jennifer, Awesome, Uriel, Rosie. Awesome. So welcome everyone. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and hop on over to Behance. And of course, this is behance.net/challenge/XD if you'd like to follow along with me. So if you're not already registered, go ahead and sign up with this big blue button right there. And that way, each day at 8 a.m., you'll get notified that there's a new challenge and that you should hop on back here to see what it is. So I'm live every day at 2 p.m. Pacific. And each day I'll give you a new challenge for you to design in XD, and you can watch along with me. So these are all the challenges. If you scroll on down here, these are all of the ones that we have completed so far. So last week we were working on the package delivery app. We did one for email actions with the swiping, with the drag trigger there. We did a word counter. That was fun with a little auto animate. And on Friday, we did a video app. And I saw a lot of you guys were sharing those in Discord and on Behance. So towards the end of this stream, I'll be featuring some of you guys' work. I already have a few pulled up here. So stay tuned for that. But today, we're gonna work on a coffee sort of app. So I want you guys to design the brewing schedule for an animated coffee, or automated, not animated. I mean, I guess it's animated too, but automated coffee maker app. And we're going to use sliders to add brewing options such as flavor, grind size, and start time. So really just kind of think about the settings in some sort of coffee making app. I love coffee if you guys did not know, but I'm like trying to stick to only having coffee on the weekends just for anxiety purposes, you know, but that's like a treat now for me. So if you guys want to, you can grab that starter file, just hit get started and it'll drop down right there for you. And this is what it will look like. Let me get this a little bigger. So this is your starter file. You've got like all of these resources, but I do not include all of my icons and stuff since I would love for you guys to create your own. But I'll give you a little sneak peek of the finished design. So this is my finished design for today. So think of some sort of, you don't even have to do them horizontal if you want, but we're gonna be using the drag trigger, some kind of slider like this. So maybe we wanna change the time that it's the coffee maker is scheduled to start making coffee, or you can change the amount of milk, something like this. If you wanna add a little visual up top with the cup, that's cool too. Maybe some grind size if it's like finer or like whole bean or whatever. And since we did drop downs on Friday, you already know how to do that. So you can add a drop down too if you want. But really just focus on the sliders right here. That's the main focus for today. But yeah, so that is what we're gonna be creating. Let's hop back over here and I just wanna show you Discord. So if you're not already a member, this is Discord, and this is a great community where you can just chat with all of your other designers, get feedback on your work. Yeah, just a great place to ask questions if you need it. So if you would like to get feedback on your work, we do have a bunch of mentors over here, always giving you feedback. So put it in this challenge channel over here if you would like to participate in that. And you can see what everyone else is working on, get lots of inspiration over here. And if you do want to share as like a case study on Behance, you can share with the keyword XD Daily Challenge. And that would be, let me show you where to save that. So if you have a project already created, just go into Edit, And that'll be over here in settings under the project tag. So that keyword's XD Daily Challenge. And that's how I can find your work at the end of the streams. Cool, so that is Discord. It's really big. All right, so let's get started. Sliders. So that is going to be over here in the prototype tab. This is where we're gonna focus. And under the trigger right here, it's grayed out right now, but we're gonna be choosing drag along with auto animate. So that will be our main focus for today. And then down here, I've got some inspiration. So if you wanna show something like this, like some radio buttons, that's cool too. Or, you know, plus and minus for the quantity. Yeah, it would be cool if you did some sort of animation with like the coffee art on the top. I don't know how you would really animate that, but that would be cool if someone wants to try that. And here's another example, you know, size, how many shots of espresso you want, just some details like that. And then today's tips. So obviously with automation projects, there's like a lot of different possibilities you can do, but we're just trying to make coffee here. So try to keep this as simple as possible. You don't want to overload the user when they're just trying to do something very simple. And yeah, think of maybe some other animations that might be happening while the slider's moving. So maybe, like I showed you, the image of the coffee is moving up and down, the ingredients kind of growing and shrinking, or we've got some numbers maybe to animate the percentages of how much milk or caramel or whatever you want to add. So let's start on our first artboard. So over here, let's hop back into the design tab. I'm just starting out with the artboard icon over here. And usually I've been doing iPhone XS just because it's kind of like a middle ground for all of these sizes. But feel free to choose whatever size you want. So you can either click or click and drag to whatever size you want. So this one is 375 by 812. And I'm going for a dark kind of look today with the coffee, you know, kind of dark. And yeah, okay. So let's start with, I've already got this illustration of a little cup. Isn't that cute? I love that. So we're gonna fill this up with like milk and just like 3 ingredients maybe. So the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna make a clipping mask. So let's just add some coffee here. Maybe we'll start with it kind of low. And then I'll copy and paste that. Add another color. This can be the milk. And then we're gonna animate these layers to kind of grow and shrink while we do the drag trigger for our sliders at the bottom. And then let's add, maybe this one can be like foam or caramel or like cinnamon, whatever, some extra ingredient like that. And I'm gonna just like get these out of the way real quick because what I wanna do is just trace the outside of this cup so that we can mask those 3 colors. Let's give it a fill. And then we can just bring these back over underneath and select all of those, and we're gonna mask it, and the keyboard shortcut for that is Shift-Command-M. Okay, so now they're kind of masked. It looks like we've got our little cup there. Maybe at the top, let's add our title of the app. I'm just gonna say coffee. I'm sure you guys can come up with something a lot more creative than that, but just for the sake of time here, we're just going with coffee. And then we need a menu, some way to navigate, of course, and then like settings or like your profile. I thought it could be this cute little coffee bean icon, and maybe we have a notification. So let's add a little green dot for notification. Okay, pretty simple. All right, so at the bottom, this is where kind of the meat of the whole design is gonna be. So this is where all of our settings will be. So I'm just gonna add a rectangle. This can be our background for all of our sliders. And let's see, let's add, maybe we have a little trigger, something to kind of grab onto if we wanna like drag this little area up and down. And let's make that a little thicker. There we go. And bring down that opacity just a bit. Cool. right. And everything else is sort of center aligned, but since it's the illustration, that's fine. But down here, I'm gonna left align things since we have a little bit more text and a little bit more details. So generally if I have like a lot of details and body copy and headers and text and stuff, I usually try to left align that. But if it's something more illustrative like this, then I just center align it. So let's add our first option or setting down here. So that could be time. And this font, isn't this the coolest font? This is called Pressacav? I don't know if that's right. But this is the coolest font. Very like modern looking, kind of scrunched down. Right, let's make this a little bigger. And okay, leave a little border on the edges. And then for our slider, so we need two different layers. So we need the background layer, which is this kind of very light gray. And then I'm gonna copy and paste this and bring this all the way up. And then I wanna do a white kind of dashed line here. So let's give this a dash of maybe 3 and make the gap a little bit bigger. Okay. So that's kind of cool. It kind of matches the illustration up here. That's kind of what I'm going for. And then with this, we need to add some arrows. So I already made these arrows just for the sake of time. So let's start with this over here. And then what we want to do, we need another clipping mask down here. So let's add a rectangle. And then just select the top layer. You don't need to select the back layer for this one. So select your rectangle and that little dashed line, or whatever kind of style you're adding to that top line. And then again, Shift Command M. So now when we drag this, we'll have a mask. And it'll kind of mask out the rest of this. What else? We also need like whatever time it is. So let's say 4 o'clock or something. And I'll make this Nimbus Sands over here. And then I already showed you guys this, I think it was yesterday. I don't remember which day it was, but you guys already know how to do this with the auto animate. And we're gonna mask these numbers as well so they can kind of scroll through vertically. So let's give this a mask. Same way we've been doing, just a rectangle above, and then mask out the rest of those shapes. And let's start on like 4 a.m. Okay, so from this artboard to this artboard, all we want to do is just copy everything. So let's go ahead and select everything, all of our elements on our artboard. We can press Command C, and then select our next artboard, same size and everything, and Command V over here. And now we want to double click into our mask. And again, this was just on the top layer, not both of those lines. And we can drag this over to like right there. And let's drag the arrows right on top of that. And then same thing with this. We're going to be using auto animate. So it will know to animate all of the elements that have changed, all of these layers that have changed from the previous artboard to this one. So we'll just drag that up to 8. And for this illustration, we don't need to change anything, so we can just keep that part the same. But let's hop now into our prototype tab and zoom on in. And what we want to do from this artboard to this artboard is we need to add a trigger. So here we want to, oh, and I already have it done. So let's get rid of that. Okay, so we want to select this little like arrow thing, and that will be kind of what we hold on to and drag. So drag this little arrow over, and the interaction is going to be drag. Our type will be auto animate because we want to animate this thing as well, and this little number. And easing, you can set that to whatever you want, but for auto animate, I usually just leave that alone. Okay. And then we're going to preview this, so make sure your little home icon is selected there. And we're going to press this play button. Let's get this out of the way. and then I click and drag. And so we not only see that little like dotted dashed line kind of moving, but we also see the numbers moving at the same time because we selected auto animate. So that is our first one. And then what was our second one? Next we want to do milk. So this will be the fun one where we kind of animate the illustration, like those layers kind of moving up and down. And you know, if you don't want to do coffee, you could do like candy in a candy jar, or like an Oreo. That would be kind of cool, or like chocolate chips or whatever, you know. I did like a pizza one before, but yeah, feel free to do something else if you want. So same thing as we did on the previous artboard. So we want to select everything and paste it on the next artboard. So from this one to this one, we want to add the milk kind of rising up. So let's just, I'm going to copy basically just the same sort of styling for that previous slider, and we'll say this is milk. And we can start with this mask kind of more down here, and I'll copy and paste, copy and paste these arrows, and then let's bring this down over here. Cool. And I don't really need to add any other like time or size or anything because it's pretty self-explanatory, like it's just the amount. But here, so let's copy that milk layer, paste it over here, and here again we want to drag this up a bit, drag this over, and now we can go into our illustration. And since we already masked this out, all we have to do is select inside, so double click into that group, and we can just kind of raise these up a bit, raise the foam, and I'll keep the coffee amount the same, but the milk is what we want to raise, so I'll raise that up to like a lot. Okay, so that looks good. And again, let's hop into our prototype tab. And oh, another thing I want to do, we want this to look consistent, obviously, from across all artboards. So I need to copy our first milk slider and make sure it's the same on the first one. So now, or wait, did we prototype this second layer? We did not. Okay, so same thing with this one. Select those arrows and drag that over to our next artboard. And we're gonna do the same exact interaction. So a drag trigger, auto animate for the action, and that's good. So now when we preview this, let's bring this down a bit. When we preview this, we can drag our time slider so we see our numbers kind of moving there, which is super fun. Oh, I need to add AM and PM. And then our milk, and we see our milk raising and lowering. Isn't that so cute? I just think that's so fun. Yes. Meyer asked, what's meant by brewing schedule? Just like, you know, automated coffee machines, you can set the time for, oh, like I wake up at 8 a.m. So I want my coffee maker to start always at 8 a.m. or whatever time. So just setting those automated settings. Okay, so let's add maybe, what else? Grind size. So we can, let's hop back into the design tab. We can again, just kind of copy this layer, copy and paste. And we can drag this down just a bit. And we'll say grind size. And so this is, if you haven't like made coffee with the grind before, it's just like the beans can be ground down to like super fine, like a powder, or ground to like kind of rough. I don't remember the exact like what that means. Like one is more potent. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but so then we just need to bring our mask in a little bit, bring this layer in a little bit as well, just so we have some room on the sides. So we can say like small grind or large, so large pieces. Let's bring these down a bit. Okay, and then here, same thing. Maybe this one will start as large chunks of coffee beans, and then on the next artboard, copy all of this, paste this over. On the next artboard, we can drag this down a bit. So kind of the opposite way. So just bring this down, and again, same with our clipping mask, just double click in there, and you want to select the rectangle, not the layer inside of that, and drag that down. And we can hop back into the prototype tab. Let's first make sure this is consistent on all the previous artboards. So I actually recommend starting on the last artboard first and doing all of these at once, and then just kind of removing pieces on each previous artboard, so then you don't have to like copy and paste like what I'm doing for each of these, but it's fine. So let's hop into the prototype tab, and oh, we have something going backwards. Okay, so for this one, we want to again select those little arrows, and we can drag this over to our next artboard. Same thing here, drag trigger, auto animate, and this will kind of go down. So let's preview just this artboard right now. And we go down. And maybe here you could show like the coffee beans kind of being broken up with auto animate, kind of like how we did for the milk. That would be kind of cool. All right, let's see if there's any questions. Jennifer said, would it be more efficient to start with the time and then use the grid option to create the others? Then you can degrid them and make the changes. Yeah, you could totally do that. So what Jennifer's talking about is basically, let's hop into the design tab. Copying, let me just show this. So like copying one grid like that, and then coming over here to repeat grid, and what you could do is just make as many of these as you want. And you could adjust the spacing like this, and then if you wanted to kind of really go in and adjust everything, you could just do undo. So that would be a great way to do stuff as well. I just didn't, but either way is totally fine. And okay, I think that's about all the time that we have left. I don't know if I have time for the drop down, but I can show you what that was. That was just a component. So let's see, yeah. So we already did components on last week, I don't remember which day, but basically you would have the default state for closed, and then you could have another state for opened with one of these selected. So here I have caramel selected, and then maybe you have hazelnut selected, and then another state for closed. So when you're doing those, just make sure you kind of adjust the arrow to up and down if it's opened versus closed. But yeah, that's how you do that. So let's go ahead and preview this whole thing. Let's see what we got. So we got our drag trigger for our time up here, and we used a little auto animate on both the drag as well as the slider of like the numbers kind of rolling through. And then we've got our milk. So make sure you add a clipping mask if you're going to do it this way on the cup. And then we got grind size. Nothing really changes on the top, but we have another slider there. And then we've got our little drop down here, so we can change the color after we close it. So there we go. That is our little automated coffee app. Let's see. No other questions yet. Cool. Meyer said, totally worth staying up until 3 a.m. Oh my gosh, you should probably go to bed. But I really appreciate you staying up for this. That's very nice. But we always have the replays on YouTube and Behance, so if you're getting tired, don't feel bad about watching them later. So let's go ahead and Command S to save. And as always, if you want to export this as a movie file, just click on one of your artboards that you want to start with, come over here to the preview icon, and just hit this little record button up here, and then you can start dragging stuff around. And whenever you want to stop, you can click the record icon again, and it will save it as an MOV file. So that's how you've been seeing like people have been sharing their prototypes as little video files too. So one of my favorite parts, let's look at you guys' work on Behance that you've been sharing. So again, this is with the keyword XD Daily Challenge, and we have one from Annie every day almost. Amazing work. Annie, I just like props to you for doing these each day. It's awesome. Okay, so this was the video call app from Friday, and we worked on drop downs. So we've got participants. Very nice. We've got a ton of different states here. The hover state, the drop down, drop up, selected. Oh, even some states in there. Very nice. I think I missed that last part. Oh yeah, turning the video on and off. Good idea. I love it. Awesome work, Annie. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's see, we've got another one. This is by Ilham. I took a look at this one in Discord. Wow, this is beautiful. I love the layout of this. Let's take a look at this video. Got our video source drop down. I like the outlined versus filled state there. That's a nice touch. Ooh, and expanded and contracted. Love that. Great work. This is just like beautiful. I love this mock-up. Cool. And we got another one. This one's by Jonathan Guzman. This might be our last one. Fleet Call. Very professional. All right. I love your illustrations too. Let's take a look. Expanding. Nice. And we got chat over here. Wow, you really built out like the whole experience. This is amazing. And a poll. I love this. This looks amazing. Great job. Wow. Awesome work. All right, you guys. That is... Oh, Jonathan said I didn't include a drop down on mine. That is totally fine. You did a ton of other prototyping in yours. Amazing work. All right, guys, that's about all the time that I have left for today. So thank you all so much for joining as always, and I'll be back again tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific. We don't have another stream right after this, but it will be again at 7 p.m. Pacific. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you over on Discord. Bye!